Good afternoon. This is Mrs. Kant coming to you for Friday's lesson, Friday, October 21st lesson. We are going to be discussing more about cell organelles and the two types of cells that make up all living things. So to start out this lesson, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that you need to fully complete this lesson and watch the video to get the answer to some of your weekly exit ticket information. As we start out, let's go ahead and answer this question. What organelle contains DNA? Is it the nucleus, mitochondria, or cytosol? Please participate by answering the question. Now that you have done the warm-up question, we're going to go back to these objectives and state standards. Here are the objectives. We have discussed many of these already, but we are going to be talking about the major organelles. We're going to talk about how they relate to the function of the organelle. We're going to be talking about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, which was introduced on Wednesday. And then we're going to be talking about the difference between the two. Prokaryotics don't contain a nucleus or membrane-bound organelles, and then the eukaryotic cells have DNA located in the nucleus, and they do have membrane-bound organelles. So let's start off right here. This is from Wednesday's lesson and talking about the cell theory. So where do new cells come from? What are the two different types of cells? Here are the two different types of cells, the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. Remember from Wednesday, the prokaryotes have a cell membrane, but they have no nucleus and they have no membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotes, they're a little more complex. They do have a cell membrane, they have a nucleus, and they have organelles organized in their cell. What are some differences you see between these two types of cells? Write your answer in the box. What are some differences? So prokaryote versus eukaryote. We have a single cell organism is a prokaryote, has no nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles. An example would be bacteria. So if you look inside the cell, we have DNA, but we don't have it contained within a nucleus. Eukaryotes, they could be single cell or multicellular, and they have a nucleus. So here is the nucleus here. And they have membrane-bound organelles. These are your membrane-bound organelles. Plants, animals, amoebas are examples of a eukaryotic cell. So which type of cell is the prokaryote? Look at these two. Which one is the prokaryotic cell? Which cell is the eukaryotic cell? Is this a prokaryote or a eukaryote? Is this a eukaryote or a prokaryote? So in our eukaryotic cells, there is a nucleus and a nucleolus. The nucleus is where the DNA is found, and this is also where it is duplicated and copied. The nucleolus is where ribosomes are made. Ribosomes are going to create those proteins, so the nucleolus has the ribosomes creation, and those ribosomes are going to make proteins. That nucleolus is out here. So, pick A, B, C, or D. Which one is the nucleus? The mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell where glucose is changed to ATP. Pick A, B, C, or D on where you think the mitochondria is. Where do you think the powerhouse of the cell is? Ribosomes. They are created in the nucleus. They make proteins, and they're going to float in the cytoplasm or attach to the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER. Choose A, B, C, or D to point out the ribosomes. The rough ER, this is where most proteins are synthesized or created, along with where that ribosomes are. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum, pick A, B, C, or D. Golgi body, found near the ER, receives products from the ER, sorts the contents, modifies them, and then it's going to send them to the correct location. This is the packaging system and the delivery system, FedEx or UPS. Think of FedEx or UPS. Pick A, B, C, or D. The lysosomes. These are going to contain digestive enzymes that break down large organic molecules and organelles in the cell. They're going to digest bacteria to protect the cell. Plant cells are similar to animal cells. There's a few differences though. Plant cells have a cell wall. We're going to start at the bottom. They have a cell wall. This is going to give the cell more structure, and so that gives this plant more structure. It's made of cellulose. The central vacuole is up here. This is the central vacuole. This is where there's going to be water storage and food storage for the plant. The chloroplast is this thing right here, and this is where you are going to get photosynthesis processing, and it contains chlorophyll. So the chloroplast, where photosynthesis occurs, and chlorophyll is found here to help with the photosynthesis. The central vacuole. This is going to store water, ions. Cell wall, going to give support to the cell, give structure to the cell. So can you look at these statements and say, I know this? I can recognize the major organelles in plant and animal cells. I can understand the structure of an organelle and how it relates to the function of the organelle. I can compare, contrast prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. I can explain that prokaryote cells don't contain nucleus or membrane-bound organelles. And I can explain that in eukaryotic cells, most of the DNA is located in the nucleus. How can you do that? Can you do it? Announcements for today. Today's Friday. You have lesson 3.04, which is talking about the types of cells. You also have a weekly exit ticket that you must complete. Within that weekly exit ticket, you will find a question that talks about today's password and yesterday's password. Reminder, yesterday's password was prokaryote. Today's password is eukaryote. 3.212 review. You can find that in your content. Start working on it so that you are prepared for the test that is coming up in the end of October or the beginning of November, November 1st. Review sheet will be due October 31st. If you have any questions, please contact me.